You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
Welcome to News Across the Galaxy, where we talk all things LA Galaxy. My name is Bryant Lobos, aka Bryant Nags, and of course, with me today on this beautiful Sunday night is my co-host Edgar Zuniga. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right, man. I'm being held together by duct tape, and well, that's about it.
Well, you're probably not the only one being held by duct tape, but we'll talk about Eddie later on.
Oh,
Of course, on the ones and twos, he's going to be muted. Chiyaso, he's in the building. Um,
What up? What up?
so, oh, there it is. So, before we kick things off, it's St. Patrick's Day. Are you wearing your green, sir?
right here.
By the way, that is a beautiful Japan kit.
Yes, thank you. It's I got it for the 2018 World Cup, which was in Russia and Japan. Man, well, they're one of the teams that they looked like they were gonna go far, and then they took that lead over Belgium, and then the wheels just fell off.
Yeah. Speaking of Belgium, and I know we'll go back into the show, but speaking of Belgium, I actually had them as my dark horse for that World Cup for some reason. Um, they didn't pan out as I wanted it to be, but I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, I'm wearing my green. I hope Chewy is wearing his green thong as well. We see Edgar with his green patch. Um, Speaking of St. Patrick's Day, remembering one of our greatest players to ever exist in the LA Galaxy, and maybe the greatest DP to ever exist in MLS, Robbie King, of course, Irish. We're celebrating. I don't know if it's Americanized now, and I'm not really sure the actual history behind it, but it reminds us of one Robbie King, the greatest forward to ever exist. Um, my biggest memory and my best memory is my favorite memory is him getting us that goal winner, the game in 2014 where we ended up getting our fifth star. Um, this man gave us everything, and we are thankful for him. Edgar, what is your greatest memory of Sir Robbie Keane?
Oh, it's a very like obscure one. I remember I was at work and I got a phone call from our ticket rep, and she's like, "Hey, guess what? Galaxy just added Robbie Keane." And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh man, we're getting some old guy coming over to, from the Premier League. What are they doing to us?" And she's like, "Aren't you excited?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll see." Oh my God, that sounds sad, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, obviously, now I have two Robbie Keane kits in my collection, and he's King Kino, right?
yeah.
I remember one time, like I was talking to him about the Concacaf Champions Cup, and I don't know why the hell I asked him this stupid question, but I was like, "So, how did tonight's crowd compare to the crowd you've seen in Europe?" And he's like, "What? Well, there's no comparison, lad." I was like, "Oops,
Damn, you disrespected
didn't
him
bring
with
my
that
A game
question.
that night."
You disrespected him with that question. He told you straight up, "Damn it, Edgar, you're in timeout."
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
enough of simple. Hopefully, everybody who is out drinking right now is responsible enough to order an Uber, because we would like everybody to avoid worst case scenarios and is irresponsible to drink and drive. All right, let's talk about some new rules in MLS that are being rumored. Well, not really rumored, pretty much confirmed. And we touched on this with Matt Baker. Shout out to Matt Baker and Flower Footy, St. Louis podcast. MLS is about to introduce um, a new U22 initiative, which will not take up a DP roster spot for your team. We'll know more about details when they actually do it. But Edgar, what does this tell you about the direction of the league and where it's going? And if it's something that you actually enjoy as a fan of MLS?
Well, it's not massive, but it just offered teams more wiggle room. because it'll benefit, I think, the teams that are more ambitious when it comes to signing players. So that's where I see it's going to be a benefit. A lot of people were hoping for a fourth DP, maybe raising the salary cap, but this is those would be huge steps. This is more like a little stumble moving forward. Yeah, right, man, you're blurring. There you are.
There I am. Yeah, it
But
was.
yeah, it's a stumble in the right direction. So hopefully, we'll see much more uh, progressive rulings for MLS. I've said before, MLS it's kind of interesting because in some respects, MLS can be pretty progressive with some of the rules, some of the initiatives, but in others, they're not just very conservative, but sometimes they take a step back, and you wonder who the heck is coming up with these decisions. We all know a lot of that stuff stems from Soccer Don himself, but you never know who's in his ear and who's just lighting his pockets of money too. So, yeah, but at least we get something, a little wiggle room.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of this upcoming rule, and hopefully there's more details to it that could benefit this league because this league, from what we've seen so far, well, in my personal opinion, what we've seen thus far in this season, every match has been really good, and MLS has gotten way better from when it started, and right now is entering to a maybe a 4.0, and this could be the catalyst for that. What this allows you to do, in my understanding, is actually like what we have with the LA Galaxy. Peck would be under the U22 initiative, and this new rule won't tag him as a DP. You'll be able to use that DP somewhere else. So hopefully we get more clarity on what that is. But I'm all for it. It's making the league younger, and you're actually going to be able to bring competition in order to get more eyes on MLS, which I think we already have. And you could actually use this league as another springboard to get into a bigger team in Europe, which we already have, and it just makes it better for this league. So hopefully, we'll get more details on that and get you guys informed with that. All right, a special shout out to our young DP, Gabriel Peck. Man's got married last week, and so that's why he didn't go to the. He wasn't able to be picked for selection against Nashville. And here in News Across the Galaxy, we want to give him a shout out and congratulate him on his new beautiful life that he's about to have and embark on a journey. Edgar, you're a married man yourself. Any tips that you could give this young sir?
It's funny because I was at a wedding last night, and the couple was asking this couple. I mean, the married couple. They're asking this older couple that had been married for more than 50 years. Do you guys have any advice? And they're like, well, if you're wrong, admit it, right? But if you're right, shut the fuck up.
I think that's sound advice right there. And shout out to everybody. Speaking of marriage, last night at the match there was a proposal in Victoria Block. I believe it was probably with the ACB members. The LA Galaxy posted it, and congratulations to that couple. She did say yes, so it was good for him because he was pretty much nervous, I'm sure. So yeah, it's smelling like weddings and love all around.
That
What's
super
going on?
chat, bro.
What happened? Oh, there's some stuff in the super chat already.
I ain't touching that. It's all you, bro.
Let me look at the super. Oh, there is a super chat.
Oh my god.
Fernando Fuentes gonna hype up Zabaleta in hopes he gives us a solid game in place of Cáceres in Kansas City, where we struggle. A ese maje si le cuelga, which means he is hung like a whale. Thank you, Fernando, for the $5 donation. And hey, we'll talk about that because he is going to have to step up in this next match against Kansas City. All right, let's
Yeah.
get back to the. Go ahead, Edgar.
I was like, hey, thank you, Fernando, for the super chat, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll go buy Twisted Teas with that. All right. Let's move on to a little bit more serious topic, an unfortunate topic. Reports of assistant coach Nick Teslov being arrested last week in Nashville. Um, from the jump, it seemed like it was just an adult being on a night out and getting arrested. Um, we could, well, I could personally relate to that. Not being arrested, but having a night out and being a wild boy. We've all been there. And at first, before the actual report came out of what actually happened, um, there was a lot of people wanting for his livelihood, aka his job. I wasn't a big fan of that, but because, as I stated earlier, as a wild boy, sometimes we make mistakes, and of course, we should be responsible for what we do. But in this situation, once the actual data came out, the actual facts came out, as Corner of the Galaxy reported, Teslov was out drinking on a Friday night in Nashville, was either roofied or drank too much. His bank account was breached for about 30K, and a workers' comp claim was filed in his name. So, with that information, Edgar, what do you make of this? What just happened to this man?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that this turned out to be the situation that led to this whole mess, right? I mean, on the surface, right off the bat, it seemed like you said, he got too drunk. He was stumbling around like a teenager, having his first drink. Uh, but the fact that he got roofied, whew, I mean that right there, it's pretty scary. I mean, I know people that have gone through that situation, and it's really scary, especially if you're a young woman. But you would never ever expect for that to happen to a grown ass man, and that makes it really scary because, um, who knows what they could have done to him, right? I mean, no matter, I mean, depending on what part of the country you're in, they could have gone from, just taking his money like they did to harvesting his freaking organs,
Yeah,
right? So thankfully, he's okay, and hopefully the bank, I'm sure the bank will help him out, with some kind of fraud case. But um, just, I guess the one thing you can get from this is like look out for your friends. If you guys go out drinking, keep a lookout for your friends, whether they're guys or girls. It can happen to anybody. Anybody could be young, could be old. So take care of each other and make sure to look out for your friends. And if you think that they've had too much to drink, let them know, and make sure that you either take them home, or they have a safe way to get home, and keep tabs on them. Um, we should take care of each other. Some people are going through some hard times. When it comes to this kind of stuff, and we gotta protect them. We gotta look out for them like their family.
yeah, and to add on to that, um, I think this is a message that we could all relate to, especially since we all go to home games at the LA Galaxy. I mean, at the Dignity. I was gonna say the LA Galaxy Stadium. It's called the Dignity Health Sports Park. Whatever.
The dig.
The digs. We all partake in a little bit of adult beverages, and when you go to these games, so these home games, please make sure you're responsible with how you maneuver with that, and make sure, like Edgar said, to take care of each other and take care of your friends, because yeah, we don't want, and like tonight, you guys are probably out drinking and having a great time, and good for you. Just make sure you guys get home safe and do it responsibly. And Edgar's message goes all across the board, and hopefully, Mr. Nick could get back on track and get his life together. Not life together, but like feel comfortable sooner rather than later, because it's a really hard situation to go through, especially losing that amount of money that you had probably saved in your life, in your bank account. So hopefully we can see some good news come out of that. All right. Speaking of tailgates, speaking of drinking, there was a lot of it yesterday, but not from me, because your LA Galaxy took on St. Louis City SC March 16th on a Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. There were some old faces that the LA Galaxy have had in their team show up to the game. One, Lucas Calegari, was at the stadium, which is really cool.
Hold on a second. That we can't just say, "Oh, he showed up to the stadium," because the level of excitement that that spread across like a galaxy Twitter sphere when that was when the word got around. That was something to behold because and if you don't mind me, I'll keep talking about it because
Go for it.
this is how I found out. Like I said, I'm at this wedding in San Diego, right? But I'm checking in, right? Let's see what's going on. 'Cause, yeah, the wedding hasn't started yet. So I look at it and it says somebody that I know from this group chat that everyone says, "Oh my God, Lucas Caligari is here," and he took a photo. And at that point, I was like, "Oh, yeah, well, this is cool." So I tweeted out like I've seen photographic evidence that Lucas Caligari is in attendance for tonight's LA Galaxy match versus St. Louis City SC. And put a little, little
The
gif
fly.
there. Yeah, I'm all excited, right? And the response was funny because 60 he got over 61 likes, and people were like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? Is he there?" Some people posting photos that they took with him. There people were saying that he was taking photos happily with people behind the Lars section. People saw him here and there. He was all over the place. And so some people even pointed to his Instagram account saying, "Have you seen what he's posting on Instagram?" And it shows him, working out and it says, "I'm in Los Angeles." So what does that all mean? Does it mean that he came here to just, hang out with his buddy Gabriel Beck, who they used to be teammates back in Brazil? Or is it a sign of something else that's being cooked up, in the kitchens, in the LA Galaxies, little backdoor kitchens, you never know. Maybe we'll get a nice little surprise. Lucas Caligari's coming in. But I mean, how do you guys feel about that? What would you do if you were to hear
I
like LA Galaxy is interested in bringing Lucas Caligari back in the fold?
like I mentioned earlier, the fly hands, because I would love nothing more than to have Lucas Caligari back in the LA Galaxy. Not only were we very high on this young man, he showed us and kind of made us forget of our last young man for a while. You know what I mean? And Julian Araujo. Yamane is not a bad right back by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're able, for some reason, bring back a Lucas Caligari and he somehow gets back to that form that we were able to see. I mean, this is just speculation and just me and my little fantasy world because I want the best.
Entertain
Yeah,
us, right?
I'm entertaining you with this information. But imagine if we were able to get Lucas Caligari back and play right back, and which is another U22 guy. I mean, the rules come out that they're gonna expand the U22 rule. And then you see Lucas Caligari at Galaxy games, been training out here and recovering. I mean, what ifs? Let's just have fun with
Yeah.
it.
What ifs?
Let's imagine great things. Or like in the great Chicharito's words, imaginemos cosas chingonas.
Let's imagine Shingona's things.
Imagine chingonas things. I like that one. So he was there in the audience and in the game before the match even started. DJ Toki Monster was there. The great DJ set, to be honest. I actually enjoyed because I actually went in an hour early with Cecil. Shout out to Cecil. We went in there. We had some nachos. He grabbed his soda. We had some cookies, and we were there for the DJ set. And let me tell you, sir, I was up in my mezzanine seat, and it looked really, really cool. The whole stadium was vibing. There was good music. People were having fun. I was actually a little not upset, but kind of not. Yeah, I was kind of upset that because I got there like around 5:30. Got to the parking lot and it was empty. The tailgate was empty. The Lars and ACB sections were empty, and I was like, "Are you guys not understanding the magnitude of this match? This is a really good team, and this is going to be one of the biggest tests for the LA Galaxy this season so far." I didn't see anybody there. I go in an hour early, stadium's empty. It wasn't until 20 minutes before the match that I started seeing a lot of people come in, white jerseys coming in. We were up in the mezzanine. There was a couple St. Louis fans in there, and so it just started. I started feeling it. I was like, "Oh, all right, people do understand the magnitude of this match," and I was actually very, I was very pleased with the with the
with the
showing of
turnout.
yeah, with the turnout of the LA Galaxy fans. Uh, Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but I did follow very closely what was going on at the stadium, and trying to follow the game on TV. I
Yeah,
mean, on my Apple TV app here, and it's kind of hard to compare what we saw on opening day, right? Where it was not just opening day, which already draws a pretty big crowd, but you had Leo Messi coming to town with the Miami Inter machine, and so you take that and the vibe, right, where people that have never been in the digs before were lining up 3 4 hours before the game like fools
yeah,
when they could have been hanging out at the tailgate areas. And then you have this where, yes, St. Louis City is a proper team, is a strong team, even with the absence of Eder Leuven. And you had people showing up a little later, but it doesn't take away from what we saw later in the game, which was one hell of a match. I mean, both teams, had their mistakes, but in the end, it was very entertaining and what was a pretty chaotic MLS weekend.
yeah. And to add on to that, to what was going on before the match, in the large section, I believe they were having a Women's Month appreciation for a lot of the ladies that come to the Galaxy. And I thought that was really cool. They were giving out shirts. I seen a lot of little girls running around getting their shirts as well and being very happy they're at the game. And so that added on to the excitement once everybody started filling up the stadium, which was really cool. And shout out to them. Shout out to the DJs that were actually outside bumping great music as well. It was good. I was a little dumbfounded by the fact that it wasn't packed by the time I got there. But it ended up being a good turnout.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm looking at the chat, and some of the people were saying that the traffic was awful. Some people were saying that that they got there at 5 and there was still traffic. Somebody, Robert Real, says the 710 was backed up until you got to the 91. So sometimes the traffic wins, but because we've seen that happen before when you try to get there early, and no
Yeah.
matter what you try, it just doesn't matter. But in the end, Galaxy fans did show up. It was a very strong showing. I think it was more than 25,000 people in attendance, and I really wish I would have been there for the DJ set. I wonder if this is going to be a recurring thing where at the for the first game they had Alesso up there, and I thought, oh, they're trying to just pump it up for the opening day and for the marquee matchup of the weekend, right? And now I hear that they brought DJ Toki Monster, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, I don't know who these people are, but I love electronic music, so it hit me with it. My question is, because EDM isn't everybody's cup of tea, I'm just wondering if they're going to have different people performing different styles of music. Like, I want to see some heavy metal. I'm just kidding. Maybe we'll see the Briggs come back. I'd love to see the Briggs. Are they still together? The Briggs? That'd be awesome, man. Um, for some reason, I can't hear Brent anymore, but I'd love to see the Briggs come back. Or some other bands. Maybe has some cumbias up in there. Have a band. Have some fucking corridos. I mean, damn, just bring it up. A local rap group or something, just so we have some more variety. Um, hey, it looks like Brian's getting. Look,
Brian
he's
was
leaving the
muted.
chat. Oh
Yeah,
my
give me a
god.
moment.
Chewy, what do you think? I know you're back there. What would you want? Since we're gonna pause on this for a second, we're gonna be in hover mode as Brian gets everything together. Anybody in the chat, what would you guys like to see if LA Galaxy is out there listening to you right now? What kind of musical performance would you want before the game? I know that Nashville, they do something where they have local rock or metal artists come on and play before the games. Um, when we were talking to Tim Sullivan from who covers Nashville SC, said that sometimes they have these people come on and perform, and it's like their time to shine because they've never really played like in a big gig for such a large audience. So they start playing, and then they play for so long that the match kicks off, and they're still playing, and they cut them off. It's kind of funny. But if you guys would like to see somebody perform, who would you want? Let us know in the chat. Judy, what do you think? What do you have to say?
No, I like the idea. I like the idea. I know I sound kind of far, but I really like that they're using that upper area, that grass area, because um, for the most part, it had been used for pictures. You know, when you take your dog and stuff, that's where you go take pictures up there underneath the screen. So it's pretty cool. Like that's basically what that area has been used for, at least the top. But now that they're using, they put that little mezzanine, that little stage. I think it's awesome, and yeah, keep bringing DJs. Live music is always fun. Um, to me, honestly, it doesn't matter what type of music, right? You're in a hyped environment. It's cool. Like I like it. I know for a long time the mix of like EDM or house music with like rock or trap or whatever the fuck it's called now. Um, it's always been pretty cool. I have a couple of tracks that I downloaded back in the day when it was iTunes or the legal Napster when Best Buy bought it with like Corn and who is it? Some DJ. I forgot his
Skrillex.
name. Huh? Skrillex. There we go.
It was
Corn and
Corn and
Skrillex
Skrillex.
music.
Well, Corn had an entire album where they did a lot of trap. I think. Oh, you're talking about way back when,
Yeah.
like in the
That back in
mid
the
two
day
thousands.
when
Oh yeah,
Napster was legal. Well, before after Napster got sued and bought and everything, and
I remember that. Yeah, that was a good album actually. They put out some bangers in that album. I know which one you're talking
So
about.
that's why I don't mind the electronic music, right? It's DJ sets,
Yeah.
but that mix is cool, and whatever you put me, as long as it's upbeat, as long as it's something that keeps the energy of the stadium, I'm down for it, 100%.
All right. Hey, is Bryant back now?
I am back now.
There we go.
I am totally back. And yes, we would love to see some cumbia bands up for the pregame show. That'd be amazing.
Can you imagine what they could do for Central American
Central
Appreciation Day?
American, dude, that would be nice. Or even
Oh my
just
goodness.
even on other days where they could have like a banda or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Touch every culture. And you know what? I think that's kind of I'll give chill. I'll give Kuntz his props on trying to make the experience of going to the digs something of a show. Um, you kind of related to how quote unquote Showtime Lakers was. This is an event you're going to. It's not just a soccer match. It's more than just that. And since you're the LA Galaxy, you represent LA with 5 titles on your jersey, as you can see here.
But
You
like,
have to be the entertaining part of what going to the matches. Yes, go ahead.
I just remember something really funny because way back in 1996, Galaxy was owned by the Villanueva family, and I remember I think like 5 or 6 games into the season, it might have been 96, might have been 97, but I do remember that they wanted to do something a little different, and they had Casey and the Sunshine Gang show up. This is like I'm in like my early 20s, and I'm like, this is like not my generation, but
Yeah.
I guess somebody must like these guys.
Yeah.
But I remember that they started playing after the game, and I had to leave. But I remember thinking, man, I wish I would have stayed. I would have seen that. Would have been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're a fan of the Casey and the Sunshine Gang, let me hear you, baby. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to this lineup. Um, it's of course is going to be the usual suspects as we've seen these last 4 games. At goal, John McCarthy. Your center back pairings with a combined age of 1,050, Maya Yoshida and Martin Cáceres. Outright, you have Yamane. Yamane or Yamane?
Yeah, man.
Yamane.
Yeah.
Out left, you have Julian Alde. In the middle, the trio that's been working so far, Edwin Cerrillo, Mark Delgado, Ricky Push. Up top, your left winger, Diego Fagundes. Congratulations on the citizenship.
Yes.
Your number 9, Dejan Jovic. I will not take any slander on that man. I will defend him today. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, our MVP of the season thus far, Mr. Joseph Paintsill.
Yeah.
This lineup came out knowing that, as you mentioned, Logan wasn't in the lineup for St. Louis, and they
Yeah.
had a depleted defensive roster. What did you think of this lineup going against this team, being at home?
Well, Matt and I actually spoke about what we expected for this game because he was on our show and then he asked me to come onto his show and we spoke about the absence of Eddie Leuven. I don't think people understand. Let me put it into perspective. This guy is the machine that drives St. Louis City SC. He is the backbone of this team. It would be like if you took Paintsil and Ricky out of the Galaxy lineup. What do you have? Right now, St. Louis, credit to them. And I know you asked me about the Galaxy lineup, but credit to St. Louis. One of my questions that I asked Matt was how is St. Louis going to be able to compensate for the loss of such a big name and their roster? And credit to them, man, they were able to put together a pretty strong squad. And But as far as LA Galaxy, we keep getting the same, right? We got the same lineup that we're used to seeing week in, week out. That's a on the surface that's a really good thing because Vanny is looking for some stability that we lacked so much in the past. Um, One of the things that came up in our conversation with Matt was that on their side, I think all of last season they only had the same lineup 5 times or something like that, something stupid. And with LA Galaxy last season, there were so many injuries and so many things happening all the time that it was so hard to maintain a certain lineup. But now that you have an established lineup and you have these people getting used to playing and having that energy that they bring right off the bat, that's a really wonderful thing. So yeah, I was very optimistic about our result and. But I was not aware that St. Louis was going to bring the fight like they did. I know they're a very aggressive team. If you do any scouting on them, they're a very aggressive team. They're always picking up yellow cards, and they've had some very tense matchups against Galaxy in the past. So this this was just another chapter added. By the way, neither team has won a game the 3 times they've played each other now. All 3 games had ended up in draws, and there have been like red cards in 2 of those 3 matches. And man, it just goes to show you that you can't take anyone lightly on any given day, even when they lose their best player. Oh no, we lost Brian again, or he's mute.
My
There you
bad.
go.
I wanted to. Oh, it's actually. Oh, actually, I heard this on the Spanish commentary on the Apple TV. They were calling it the ki- the the killer pea, the killer peas. That's what they're called, the killer peas.
Nice.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch something about that stability statement that you mentioned. When you have a recurring lineup, it's a great thing. And now we still have to add Brugman and Gabriel Peck, which is not a bad option to start with. You have 4 games undefeated, and you continue with the same lineup. And the people that you put in the positions of the other 2 that are supposed to come in have been more than serviceable with Diego Fagundes and Edwin Cerrillo. In particular, for me, has the big surprise has been Edwin Cerrillo, not because I wasn't confident in his skill set, but because he had to come in for a Brugman who is a more seasoned vet. He's more polished than what Cerrillo is. I knew from the gate, though, that once we got Cerrillo coming from the Dallas
Academy.
Cantera. I was going to say Cantera because I couldn't remember Academy. it's a it was a great signing at that moment. Now we're seeing that this could be more than a great signing, and it could be a solidified future starting center mid for the LA Galaxy. And not just that, a maybe center mid could get us a championship or 2.
Yeah, anytime you mention FCD Academy, you think quality,
Yeah.
and the fact that Galaxy was able to pick him up, what a steal! Uh, in fact, a lot of those players that came in during that time, what a steal, right? We picked up a lot of great players. Um, as far as I mean, what I expected at the beginning of this game. I expected Galaxy to come out and try to take the game early, try to take it to St. Louis as soon as possible because not having your best guy there, that means that you have to adjust, right? You have to try to find people that will fill in those gaps, and maybe Galaxy could take advantage of that and run through those gaps and create some chaos and score. But yeah, like I said earlier, man, St. Louis was up to the task. They wanted to face off against LA Galaxy toe to toe. One of the things that Matt kept mentioning, and I kept bringing him up because him and I were going back and forth on Twitter discussing the match, and one of the things that he mentioned was that it felt a lot like a heavyweight fight. These two big guys, excuse me, these two big guys just like trading haymakers back and forth, boom, boom, boom. And who's the first one that was gonna give up or just lay down, and nobody did.
Uh, I mean, it was very early for us where we got the opportunity to put one in the back of the net. Going to what you guys said earlier, you didn't know what to expect, and right away, these guys were on all firing on all cylinders. A beautiful cut and run by Julian Aldet, who gives it to Diego Fagundes. Diego Fagundes returns it back to Aldet, who gives it to Jovic. And Jovic, he's on fire, puts it in the back of the net. And that was 3 minutes in. At that moment, did you feel this game was going to get out of hand for St. Louis?
Well, I just felt like that was a good start for us, a good strong start, and you can't you can't just score that one goal and feel confident that that's all you need against a team like St. Louis. They're very strong, and they've been known to punish you on the counters. So I was really looking forward to seeing LA Galaxy double or triple that lead. Like I said, at this wedding, so I wasn't glued to my phone as I wanted to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beautiful things going on around me, so my attention was driven. But um, when I did go back and browse through the game, I noticed that St. Louis maintained their pressure, and but LA Galaxy, oh my God, there was a stretch when they hit the post like what, two, three, four, 5 times, I think it was.
Yeah.
Paintsel, Jovelich, everybody was hitting the post, and you, my goodness. I mean, if you're the goalkeeper, you pat that post a little bit, say, thanks, buddy. But if you're trying to score that goal and you keep hitting the post, that's gotta drive you nuts. I like to always say that when you have those kind of plays early in the season, later on in the season, those are goals. Because at this point, you're still trying to tune things up, trying to, get your aim just right, and you're not there yet. You're getting there, though. You're getting there. So maybe later in the season, these are goals, but at this point, they weren't, and so that's St. Louis is probably like wiping their brow, saying, "Okay, boys, we got saved by the post. Let's go out there and try to make some noise as well." And can I just get to the what happened with Ricky, man? Because I did see that live, and I remember like looking at my phone in disbelief, and I went back and I looked at it like 6 or 7 times, and the reason I kept going back was because not because he tried to carry he had to, he came all the way down to carry the ball up the middle. We know he wants to be the man. He has to be the man, right? He wants to be the MVP and all that. But the fact that he tried to get really cute, he tried to get really cheeky. He tried to backheel the ball out of there, and St. Louis wasn't having it, man. They pounced all over him. I'm the player,
On
Tomas
strike.
Ostrak.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was a pain in the side of the LA Galaxy this
Yeah.
entire game, and credit to him, man. He pounced on that. He took the ball up there and he found the spot and scored it. That was a nice goal for them. Very frustrating for LA Galaxy at a time when they should have been peppering the opponent's goal more, but no, stupid mental mistakes. Try to get cute with something like that. When all you need to do is just lob the ball up the field or kick it out of bounds if you feel that you're being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But no, this is one of the things that we always complain about. Ricky tries to be the man. He tries to do the hero ball, right? He tries to do big man things, and he's still learning. We forget, right? What? How old is he?
He's the early 20s. Let me, because I think
He's
Ostrag,
23, right?
yeah, I think Ostrag had a marvelous game for
Oh
the
yeah.
players that they were missing. Their main one, like you said, their engine, Lobin, who I mentioned on the midweek pod that I thought he was one of their guys that was gonna able to damage us. He wasn't there, and somebody else stepped up. Now, but let me give you some of these stats in their first half. We had 8 shots on goal. They had 12. Um, well, 8 shots to 12. Two were on target from us. Three were on target for them. We had 60% as a possession. Our pass percentage was 84% compared to their 81. Um, aerials won. It was 4-1. Tackles even. And dispossessed, we're dispossessed 5 times, and it's going to that goal that Ricky kind of. I'm not sure what that play was supposed to be or what they were trying to do, but if you're trying to be the guy in the LA Galaxy, you don't commit those in front of your box, so close to your goal. Seeing how you were up and actually dominating with possession, not just with possession, you had two other chances that, let's keep it honest, their goalkeeper Berkey
Turkey.
is
Oof.
such a beast. The
Yeah.
goal that he took away from Fagundes was legit. Um, and later on, he took one from Jovic that was legit. He is not the goalkeeper of the year for nothing. He won 2023 goalkeeper of the year. Am I correct in saying that? I believe so. And so he showed it in this game. Um, Unfortunate that we couldn't put those past him, but uh, yeah, in his first half, domination and no result.
There's one stat I want to go back to, by the way.
Hmm.
You mentioned the Galaxy had 8 shots on goal. This is against the St. Louis team that had given up only 5 shots on goal all season long, by the way.
Yeah. Well, they had 8 shots. Two were on goal. But either way,
Well, yeah.
it's still to take 8 shots on the team like this. And on those two, it was the saves that he had. Great saves, game saving saves. So, what are your takeaways from this first half, aside from those that mental mistake that Ricky had?
Uh, Frustration, just for the fact that, once again, mental mistakes, whether from the spot or in the run of play, have tarnished or stymied what could have been a much more productive half for the LA Galaxy. Um, I mean, some people could say, "Oh, you're nitpicking," right? Because these are things that solve themselves as the season progresses. Things that your manager is supposed to bring up um, during the week and point out that we can't do these things. But when it does happen, and you realize that this could really affect the outcome of the game, and we're talking about how important it is to have good results from the start to the end, then it does bother you. And we want to get all those points as much as possible. And something I'm going to touch on later on is that um, earlier today, or Atlanta beat Orlando 2-0, and I'm friends with people from both podcasts, and I remember listening into their Twitter Spaces, and the Atlanta guys were like, yeah, we got a good win. We're against Orlando. These are rivals, so they were happy. But you go to the Orlando side, and oh God, they're really upset. Their team is a mess right now, and I'll put that into perspective later on because LA Galaxy seems to be doing well, but we keep seeing a lot of mental mistakes that I think if they don't figure out how to alleviate these or prevent them, it's gonna end up resulting in some losses later on in the season. I mean, we're gonna lose some games, obviously, but games that we shouldn't lose against in situations where either team could win, you want to be the one that does win instead of giving up stupid mistakes that will either lead to a tie that shouldn't be or a loss.
Yeah, and shout out to Tyler from Atlanta and Mike from Orlando. you were
Yes.
talking about. Yeah, I agree with you. I want to touch on the positives that I've seen in that first half, and maybe one negative, and it doesn't have to do with the players that on the offensive side. I'll start with the negative. To me, it seemed that Yamane also gave up a couple balls that he shouldn't have. I was not upset, but kind of I questioned it because he's such a veteran in this sport, and you would think that he'd be able to make better decisions in those situations. On the opposite side, the positives, Julian Alden. This young kid has been stepping it up since he's been starting this season. And what pleasure to see that, especially now because he's healthy and he can actually be on the pitch to provide some positive moments for the LA Galaxy, and not just a positive moment that he had in the first half with the assist, but I mean just in generally defending. He's been very solid. I want to see more of that, and hopefully it continues on as the league. I mean, as the season carries on. All right,
Yeah, that's what.
go ahead.
Yeah, that's obviously one of the things that we were hoping from him because he came lauded as such an important player from
Mhm.
Lanús. Uh, a lot of the fans from Lanús still monitor his performances with LA Galaxy, and they're very happy that not only did he make the jump, but that he was actually getting starts. And unfortunately, then he got hurt, and we didn't get to see much more of him towards the end of the season. Now we have a healthy Aude, and we're starting to see what he can provide. But at the same time, he's still young, he's still raw. And you're going to hear that a lot. Like players like Gabriel Beck, for example, fits also the same mold. Young, very promising. We've seen what he can do when he's on point, but he's still raw. He needs some polishing. And these are players, like you said, Brian, that want to use MLS as a stepping stone to maybe a career in Europe or maybe Saudi Arabia if that's what they want. But the fact is that they want to look for that next step into something bigger, something more lucrative for themselves, and to come here and apply their their careers here at MLS, an opportunity that they now need to take. And so seeing out there balling like that, that's really nice. Hopefully he can keep it up all season, but he's also prone to making mistakes.
Yeah, well, it's the growing pains that you have to go through as a young player, especially in this league that is very physical. He's probably gonna have to adapt a little bit more, and which he's been doing a great job in these first four games that we've seen him. And so hopefully it continues. All right, let's go to the second half.
Second half, man, second half was wild.
Second half was a wild ride.
Woo.
I mean, in the midweek show, I did mention that this was probably gonna be the game of the week, and I think they performed and lived up to the hype of what it was. Maybe not hype from MLS because it's not Messi or Miami, but as a fan of MLS and as a fan of watching the game of football, you knew that this match against even a depleted St. Louis team, it was going to be a grind. I mentioned also that I was afraid that this team, the ability of this team to come back on their opponents in a way because they did it against Austin at an away game. They come over here. You saw the end results. The second half started. Uh, 50th minute, 51st minute. Mark Delgado with a I mean, beautiful chef's
Chef's
kiss
kiss, baby.
of a through ball to Joseph Painstill. Nobody's catching that, man. Ever. You put him in space, nobody's catching him. Puts him through, gives him a beautiful assist. Painstill does what he does, puts it in back of the net. How did you see that play, sir?
Oh, that's beautiful. That's what you pay for, right? That's what you show up to the game, and that's the one thing that you really hope to see with all the hype that Painter came into the league. Um, and then you talk to other MLS people around the league, and they're immediately taking notice on what Painter can do. They know he's a menace. So uh, I know that St. Louis fans were like, "Oh no, here we go, Pinto's on the loose,"
Yeah.
um, because I was listening to the St. Louis reaction to this game, and they felt that Painto gave them a really hard time. I mean, he did get a lot of shots off. He had his opportunity, he scored, but I also saw that they made a very big effort to try to corral him as much as possible and try to mud up his lane, so that way it made it more difficult for him. Every time that he got the ball in the wing or in the corner of the pitch, you saw two or even three players go immediately to try to either keep him from going on a run or just try to make sure that he couldn't dish the ball off immediately. And I mean, he only scored one goal, right? He
Yeah.
could have done a lot more. So that's how St. Louis was able to prevent things from getting out of hand as far as Painto is concerned. Painto got his goal, but it could have been a lot worse for them. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. That teams are starting to realize that yeah, he has amazing speed on a breakaway, but if you're able to do certain things, you can still limit the kind of damage that he can do to you. And we're going to see more of that as the season progresses, how teams adjust to Painto.
Yeah. In the second half, even before that, well, when that second goal went in, the LA Galaxy had most of the possession again, and the shots were 7-8 in our favor. Um, and we had 6 on target in that second half. It's kind of concerning. Well, it is. It's very concerning because you want to put a team that is depleted. You want to put them away right away. You don't want to give them any hope. After that 51st minute goal of Painso, you thought, here we go. We're gonna get another one. Easy. They can't keep up with
Mm.
Painso. You give them through space. 10 minutes later, a banger of an equalizer
Oh my
by
God.
by
What a
St.
goal,
Louis.
dude.
You cannot. The first goal was a mistake. This one, there is nothing anybody could do in that situation. It was just a
No,
banger.
yeah, it's puro golazo. I mean, if you say that's a stupid goal, that was not a golazo, you're not a football fan. You're not a fan of the sport because we love our LA Galaxy, but first and foremost, we love this game. And when you see something like that, you got to give it some credit, man. I mean, especially a center
Center
back,
back. That's what I
right?
was
I
gonna
used to
say. A
play
center
center
back.
back, and when I was heavier, and there's no way I could have done something like that. And this guy is like twice my size, right?
Yeah.
And he's getting up there. What I mean, he placed it so perfectly into the corner. I mean, look at me, I'm smiling like, damn, what a goal, right?
It was a
And
beautiful goal.
you can't help but be like, damn. I even gave Matt his props. I was like, damn, that was a golazo, man. And he was like, yeah. Um, and then you're like, damn it, Galaxy, what are you guys gonna do to counter that, right? You guys got to get one back so we can keep this going, so we can get that win. And no, it didn't work out like that.
It
I
didn't.
mean, Galaxy did have some chances, but like I said, in my limited viewing of the match, I saw that and I was like, oh my god! And I was asked to go out and dance. So I was like, let me drag my busted knee up there. But yeah, it was definitely caught everybody off guard. You never expect a goal like that. Don't be surprised if it gets nominated or even win. I mean, it's definitely gonna get nominated for goal of the week. Don't be surprised if it does win goal of the week. Although Giacomakis scored a banger today for Atlanta,
Oh
so
yeah. Yeah, he did.
that dude just scores bangers, man.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is definitely a one that I think will get a lot of votes for goal of the week.
And at this moment, the LA Galaxy and St. Louis SC were just trading haymakers.
Oh yeah.
The LA Galaxy scores one, St. Louis scores one. Beautiful through pass to Paintil to put it back of the net. Whatever you could do, I could do better. Banger of a bicycle kick. You mentioned what can the LA Galaxy do at this moment? At the 62nd minute, Diego Fagundes comes out and Gabriel Peck, the newlywed Gabriel Peck, comes in. You think that this dynamic would change, and it did. I think right away he did make an impact. You could see the quality. I love Diego Fagundes and what he's done in his first 4 matches for the LA Galaxy as a starter. and actually being a key piece of what they've been able to produce up top. But you could just tell that Gabriel Peck is on another level.
Well, he just built differently, man. You always hear that, right?
Yeah.
He just built differently. Well, this guy definitely is built differently. He's built from a different mold, and you can see that and the kind of confidence that he brings and to the pitch. I even mentioned in the St. Louis pod that I expected Gabriel Peck to come out flying because he's newlywed and he was gonna want to impress his bride by going out scoring a goal, maybe lifting his shirt up, saying damn or something like that. Obviously he didn't get the score, but uh, one of the things to admire about him is that he's got that dog in him, man. He's got like an engine inside of him that just drives him to keep pushing forward. And it's refreshing to see that from a South American player because you see um, Neymar, for example, perfect example. Man, you even breathe on him in the 18, he's like, he just falls down like he just got sniped. But that's not Peck at all. This guy is like the juggernaut. He's gonna run through there carrying the ball to the 18. And I love that. I'm just hoping that we start to see some returns on that sooner than later because we keep hyping him up, right? And when is it gonna happen? I want to see him celebrate a goal sooner than later. But it was just nice to see him get more minutes. Hopefully he gets more minutes in the next match because Vanny will definitely have to shuffle the lineup, right?
Yeah, and we'll get to why he has to shuffle it later
Oh
on.
yeah.
But I will agree with on the Peck topic. Yeah, I agree with that. And not just he has that flair. You could tell once he receives the ball on his feet, you could tell he has that Brazilian flair. And imagine that on your wing. We have that in the Galaxy now. Somebody who has that flair, who has the speed, who could play that Joga Bonito style. And imagine, just imagine, like we were fantasizing earlier, him and Calegari on the same side.
Ooh.
Oof. Oof.
I mean to have that ability to bring somebody off the bench like that. Ooh, my goodness, the riches, right?
It is. It is. So 62nd minute, he comes in. There's a lot of play in between. Ricky gets a yellow. There's more substitutions. Edwin Serio comes out at the 69th for Gaston. And Jovic comes out for Miguel Berry. That substitution kind of weirded me out just because of the fact that up to that moment, Jovic was still getting into spaces where he's able to get a ball to put one in the back of the net. Um, do you think it was just Vanny like, hey, come on, I'll take you out. We'll get a next one.
Yeah, that was kind of odd. Because one of the topics that I keep bringing up is Jovelic's or Dayon, right? His Dayon's
And it's Jovic.
I wouldn't say mental health, but his confidence level, and you want to try to build up his confidence again. Granted, we did see the Pistolero celebration, right, in
Yeah,
this match,
in the
so
early goal.
that's a good thing. You're starting to see some flashes of that Dayon from 2022, but you want to make sure he's a forward, he's a striker, and my goodness, these guys live and die with their confidence. And if you want a guy to be real confident, let him play the whole match and see what he can do. He he's being fed a lot of great opportunities, and you want to see him score more. And this is, I'm sorry, I'm starting to slide into the Dayon slander. And you know me, I love Dayon,
Ah,
man.
don't you dare, Edgar.
I
Don't
will
you
get more
dare.
into that later on. But it's just say that he did not have a perfect game. He had some opportunities to score, and but the fact that my goodness, 4 games, 4 goals. Wow, I did not see that on my bingo card.
And you guys are still complaining about this man. Yes, he could have had more, but I'll get into it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, the confidence factor is something that we do worry about with Jay Young. But in this post game interview, in the post after the match, he mentioned that in 7 days we get a new opportunity. You know what that tells me? This young man is locked in, and he already forgot about the ones he missed against a very good St. Louis team. And of course, he took the blame for not gaining the point that they got, but for losing the two that was at home and presented to him at home, he's locked in. I can't give him any ish for that. That's what you want. And to top it off, he is not your DP player. He is quote unquote substituting for the DP player that we had in his position, and he's putting up numbers. And the numbers I'm speaking about is him being up top of the Golden Boot race. Number one, of course, is Luis Suarez with 4. Number 2 is Dejan Jovic, and
Four.
he has 4 goals and an assist. That's 5 tallies in 4 games, and you guys are really gonna give this man a hard time for not converting those. Berkey had a great game. Let's not forget they have a really good goalie. Anyway, I'll defend Dejan later on, even more. So the LA Galaxy. Hold on, where's my?
So then the officiating.
We'll get to that at the end of the game. We'll get to that at the end of the game because at the 88th minute, the LA Galaxy concede a goal in which I think is kind of a controversial moment in the match. How did you see that, Edgar?
Well, at that point, in the 82nd minute, I got my wife's like, "That's it." We know our 3.5-year-old son is going nuts. Let's head back to the hotel room. I'm like, all right. I'm like, damn it. Okay. So I left. As I'm walking back, I start getting all these messages saying, "Oh my God, there's chaos at the dig." I'm like, what the heck? I mean, we had chaos in Chicago, now there's more chaos at the dig. And I started getting all these different reactions from people. When I finally got in settled and I looked at what happened, I was dumbfounded. And I know that how you view what happened depends on whether you are a St. Louis fan or a Galaxy fan. But so St. Louis has a corner kick. The ball is lobbed into the 6. And right as John McCarthy is about to jump up and grab the ball, I think who scored the goal? I can't remember right now at the top of my head, but he jumped up into him and nudged him just enough so that the ball went off McCarthy and into the net for an own goal. Um, in the past, we have seen the referees really defend the goalkeepers almost like they're quarterbacks in the NFL, right? Don't touch them. But in this case, they let it go like it was like a 50-50 ball, which is kind of odd, right? Because he jumped up into McCarthy, nudging him and forcing the error. So then you start to wonder, like, wait a minute, where is the line? Where do you draw the line as far as interference with the goalkeeper, as far as contact with the goalkeeper when he's trying to make the save? And that's where the controversy, channeling Eddie here. This is where the controversy begins. And so whether or not it was a goal, it depends on who you're cheering for. I know we have maybe 1 or 2 St. Louis fans, in the chat. Maybe they could, explain things from their point of view.
Yep. Shout out to Mo Football. Shout out to Mo Football.
USA. But I know Galaxy fans. How did you feel? If you're in the chat and you felt that that was not a goal, if you felt that that was a foul, sound off, because you're not. No matter what you say, the refs are being tone deaf right now. The league is being tone deaf. They're not going to say much. But you go around the league and you start hearing from the other fans, and everybody's really upset. Everybody's upset with the officiating. And even LAFC fans were upset with the officiating, which is kind of funny because they're upset about everything, even the weather. And so, but the fact that, from coast to coast, from the north to the south, everybody's really upset with the officiating. So, yeah, man.
Yeah. And we'll get I'll get your actual thoughts on what you think about the Revs, because we won't get fined. We can talk our shit and we won't get fined.
Vandy's gonna get fined for sure.
Well, he has a right to. I saw the replay to that. I saw it a lot of times. There was clear obstruction of the keeper. To me, it was a clear obstruction of the keeper. Why you don't go to VAR to review that? Now, is it on the ref that didn't want to go to VAR, or is it the people that are telling them in the ear that it wasn't a reviewable match? Whatever it is, You guys messed up, and it's not just this match. It's other matches that doesn't involve the LA Galaxy. And so, come on, make a deal with the MLS Pro Refs because we thought we had it bad with those guys. Look what we
Yeah.
have now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for Soccer Don to keep going out every week and saying, "Oh, these guys are quality referees," that's a lie. That's a
Yeah,
lie. You can't
bold
keep
face
feeding us
lie.
lies.
Yep, lying to our faces and expecting us to eat that up. I mean, how much more can you slap MLS fans with statements like that before there's some type of mutiny, and not just with the fans, but with even the coaches and the players and stuff. You need to write this somehow. I don't know what you do. You swallow your pride or something, because these MLS reps that we have now are not it.
No, definitely not.
Well, we're down
And
3-2 at this moment. I'll go
and
ahead.
this is when things got really, really interesting
This
because
is where
I
this
did
is.
see that. I did see that, right? I got updated. I was like, Galaxy's down 3-2. I'm like, oh no, they really flipped the tortilla on us. Oh, this is bad. You know, or if you're from Salvador, as the pupusa turns, right? You're like, oh no,
Volteate la tortilla.
right? And then some very late fireworks. This has been a recurring theme across MLS and these every match day so far, where it doesn't matter where what team it is, whether you're at the top of the table or at the bottom, at some point everybody has either scored or given up like a late goal for late dramatics. And my God, I mean, it wasn't at the death, but it was late enough where it was butt clench time and Maya Yoshida,
My captain,
my captain, our
Yoshida-san.
captain.
Yes, my
He
captain.
came through big, man.
And not just that. Let's talk about the ball that Gaston Brugman gave him. He gave, and see, this is the difference between what Cerrillo does, because I love what Cerrillo does on the pitch, and what Brugman does. He does the exact same thing as Cerrillo defensively, but he provides so much more on the offensive side. And in that assist, he proved it. It was, it's like he kind of, here you go, just lobbed that up to Yoshida-san. And of course, our captain's going to put that in the back of the net.
I mean, Yoshida's not a small guy, and
He's
he had to
not.
go down for that one.
I
But my
mean,
goodness, he knew exactly what he was going to do, and he knew exactly who was going to place it. And to get one past Berkey, ooh, that's a
yeah.
big deal, man.
And with all due respect, Yoshida-san, that head of yours is bigger than most. So, so it was only proper for him to score a header in the last minutes of the match, to be the hero of the game. To be honest, because at that moment, even Klaus had came out that moment, and the replacement for Klaus, Kyle Herbert, he was very dangerous against
All
the.
these guys are dangerous, man.
Yeah, and so, but at that time, I was up in the mezzanine watching the match. I was already set that this team was gonna lose. I was like, man, these guys really just lost at home. I was thinking about the goals that Dejan Jovic didn't score, the one that Fagundes didn't put in the back of the net. There was no way, to me, at that moment, there was no way we're gonna lose, right? I saw that set piece. I saw our captain get it in back of the net. I saw his celebration and what it really meant to him, and not just him, to the team, because they were dominating this game. And it felt like they deserved it. But you don't deserve points in MLS. You earn them.
Yeah.
And we didn't, I mean, we earned this tie, but so did St. Louis. And St. Louis is a really good team. And I'm glad that people actually showed up for this match, because now you see a Galaxy team that really got tested against a very good opposition without their best players.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, and I gotta bring that up later on because I'm still not sold, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, well, actually,
But
let me wrap this up. The game.
yeah, we're gonna
We
wrap
ended
this up. Go
we
ahead,
ended up
because
3-3. Actually, there's actually an important thing
Big
before I
thing
wrap it up.
happened at the end there. Big
Yeah,
thing.
and it goes to what we alluded to earlier about having changes in the team. Martin Cáceres goes out with a red. I mentioned Kyle
I
Herbert.
mean, not just any red, buddy. Come on. See, describe this to me because I saw that. It was like Hadouken or
No,
he did a
no,
fucking
I applauded what he did. He
no,
had a
no, no. I'm just
sacrifice.
saying this describe how he did. He like chased that dude down and just went
Chased the dude
flying
down
into him.
and just threw his body at him. He had to throw his body at him.
Yeah.
The guy was gonna leave him, and what Martin Cáceres did, as a veteran of the game who has played World Cups, he's played in the top teams in the world, does what a veteran center back should do, and he took the red to save us a point because that guy was
Um,
gone. What does that mean for us? Eh, we got another center back that's gonna have to come in and
well,
replace what he does. Go ahead, Edgar.
there's something that came up after the game where Maya Shida actually said that he apologized to Cáceres because he wasn't back there to defend that, and so because of that, Cáceres had to. And if you follow Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. He had to pay the Iron Price, and our Galaxy had to pay the Iron Price, and with that foul, and Cáceres is going to be gone for at least a match, maybe two, depending on whether they felt it was a really blatant foul. And what does that mean? What does that mean? Bust out your Salvadoran flags because it's Samaleta time.
Damn, bro. Talk about shaking up the lineup, huh?
Bust out, the what was it that he brought to the cookout that one time? Bust out
Oh,
the
zucchini casserole
zucchini casserole, baby.
that you eat with your hands. In this instance, I don't know.
I knew you were gonna say that, dude.
Listen, the fact that Martin Cáceres is going to be out for the next game against Kansas City, spoiler alert, that's what we're going to end with.
Oh god.
It means that we're probably going to struggle in the back line. But, I mean, we'll get a midweek show and talk about that and see what
Don't you have Christmas being got to back him away?
damn it, hey, if you want me to suit up, I'll suit up. I can play center back.
I mean, we
Just
have
kidding.
was it Leardom? He could play center back. Oh wait, no,
We don't. We do have for Kranis.
Yeah, for Canis.
I mean, we seen what Jalen could do and what a revelation he was.
Oh yeah.
Why not throw the other young guy in the fight? Nah.
By the way, now let's go on a quick aside because
Yeah.
I was asked by Matt in their show about Flyover Footy about Jalen Neal, and the question was, when is Jalen Neal coming back? And I know people have on Twitter have gone out of their way to ask Mama Neal that question, which you're not supposed to ask. That's personal information, and leave Mama Neal out of it. But it is up in the air, right? It's been a long time since we've seen Jalen suit up for a game, and for somebody that young to be out this long, I know that the last thing I heard, he had a sports hernia, which is like an abdominal hernia. It's kind of worrying, right? Hopefully, we get to see him come back to full form sooner than later. I feel like obviously he's an important, vital piece of this team. And until he's back, I don't feel will be at full strength. But also, if you're a fan of the national team, he's somebody that's very important for this team. And I figure that once he gets back in form and up to speed, he's going to be one of the guys that I think will be dressing up to represent the U.S. in the upcoming World Cup. So it's important, not just at the local level, but also at the national level. And hopefully we get to see Neil back soon. If anybody knows anything about it, let us know. So far, we haven't heard much. And I just hope to see him back soon.
Yeah, and speedy recovery, young man. You shouldn't have been melporting. No, I'm just playing.
Damn.
Well, the LA Galaxy draw this match against a very formidable opponent in St. Louis
yeah.
City SC.
Tip my hat.
Yeah, we mentioned in the midweek show that this was going to be a grind, and I think it's match of the week, in my perspective. But let's get into the stuff that really pissed us off about the game. Not just the score, not just the Dejan missing for you guys, because I thought he had a great game. But the refs, Edgar, why do these refs suck so much?
It just I feel like a lot of these officials, obviously they're not top level officials. I mean, it's not like MLS officials are the end all be all of officiating because we know certain names around the league that when you see them on the pregame report, you're like, oh my god, this guy hates us. This guy has it on for us, has it in for us. This is going to be a difficult match for us, but at least there is some level of professionalism. There is a certain standard that the officials bring to each week, and we know what to expect. And if something happens, then we can hold them accountable. And we've seen the league in the past do something about it. But the referees are now the scabby refs. You never know what you're gonna get. It's like going trick or treating. Are you gonna get some nice Snickers bars, or are you gonna get like a rock like Charlie Brown does? Um, you never know. This weekend was pretty bad. I know people from around the league were complaining about it. Fans, podcasters, journalists. Um, I more than one person on Twitter from different teams because I follow people from different teams, fans and podcasters, and more than one person tweeted out like, "That's it. I can't handle it anymore. We're done with the scabby refs. Bring back the pro referees. Figure something out. If this is damaging the league. It's like it's starting to affect results to the point where um, it doesn't feel genuine anymore. I mean, the teams that are at the top of the league are well, might beg to differ, but it gets to the point where you don't you're not sure what you're gonna get, and feel that it's reliable. It's becoming a farce, especially if the league wants to present itself as one of the top flight leagues in the world. You can't even figure out your officiating situation. Come on, Ron Carver, man. Just fess up and say we messed up, and give these guys what they need, what they want, so they can come back and give us something much better than we've been getting so far. Because for right now, I feel like I haven't got my money's worth. Right.
Yeah, it's the thing with the people in MLS and the people in charge. I feel it's like an ego thing, bro. Just because you might feel like, or they might feel that they're able to take advantage of this working man situation. It's not fair for the refs, for the fans who watch their teams getting bad calls after bad calls, and most importantly, for your league. Like you mentioned, you want to be the best league in the world, you got to get your refs right. Do what you have to do to right this ship, in my perspective. Um, that's in your hands. Uh, and we'll just leave it at that. We'll see how this plays out throughout the season. Hopefully, we get we get some results and we get the old refs who we were complaining about before. We get them back because in hindsight, they're not that bad. All right, Edgar. Let's get into some awards.
Hmm.
Mm. And of course, we're gonna start off with the Game is Soft Award.
Well,
The
before we start, why don't we let's look at what Eddie sent us.
Oh
This is
yes.
it's just fascinating to me because Eddie jumped the gun. He's like he's giving out a BJ. Oh my goodness!
Oh, so you got a bad job award for us. All right, go
You
for
want to
it.
read it for you?
And before you do, a shout out to Eddie who's in Mexico. He's in Mexico City right now, enjoying his vacation. Hope you're doing great, my brother. We love you out here.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So Eddie says BJ to Dayon. He's not a confident striker. If the defender on his right isn't bumped and falls, Dayon doesn't score at all. We need a confident striker. Take off those rose-colored glasses. That's a BJ too. It's not even a G or a BJ. Damn.
I don't know why he would say that, knowing that I am a Day Young Day One fan. But all right.
All right.
What does he also say?
Um, Well, next up, right? Unless you have a BJ to hand out, no. Besides
Aside
the
from the
rap,
reps, aside from
yeah.
the reps, I don't think anybody deserves a BJ.
Okay,
Mm, nah, we're good.
okay, okay. So what do you want to go? What do you want to do next? Gio Artman.
Yeah, we'll do Eddie's stupid fucking. Not the BJ was stupid. The Geo has validity.
All right, the Gio work. All right. Let's start with Eddie. Right.
Yeah,
He says he's giving it to McCarthy. He says maybe this is why he was available. Right. He made a bond like mistake, and he feels the honeymoon is over. Shrug emoji.
shrug emoji.
It's borderline, right? There's so many different ways you can look at what happened with that led to the ball getting in there, and the refs like just. All
Yeah,
right, so could McCarthy have come forward and just knocked the hell out of that guy and grab the ball? Yeah, he could have done that. But could the referee grown a pair and said no, that's a foul. You're supposed to play the ball, not the player, and that could have happened too.
yeah.
But in the end, it didn't even go to VAR, which sucks. Or did it? I don't remember. Did it go to VAR?
No, I
I
don't think
wasn't
so.
watching. It
There
didn't
was
go to VAR. Damn,
no.
that's it. That makes it even worse.
Yeah, so that's. I
But
think it's
yeah,
fine.
I mean, according to, Eddie feels like it was Hartman. I mean, Hartman. Sorry. Eddie feels that McCarthy was to blame for this because he feels like McCarthy should have trucked the dude. Yeah, yeah, obviously, yeah, he could have done that. But maybe then, stupid ref would have been like to the spot.
Yeah,
And then we really have some a big issue on our hands.
yeah.
But what's your geo, uh, Brian?
I was I was a little torn because you could I could have gave it to Yamane because of that first half lack of performance where he gave a couple balls away in bad positions. But then as I watched the game, it became more obvious, and I hate to give it to this player because he is a big part of what we do offensively. Ricky Pooge, again, the hero style ball that he wants to play. I'm not sure how to describe it. I just know what when I see on the pitch, what I saw live made me feel that he is not the MVP that he wants to be. It seems like he's forcing a lot of what he's trying to do offensively and gets really frustrated when it doesn't come out because he's not making it simple. A Market Delgado, he's been better than Ricky Pooch this season thus far in these 4 games. And Ricky Pooch has had, well, he comes with the accolades of coming from the Masia in Barcelona. And so, not because he's a bad player, it's just I feel that's he could be way better. Or maybe I'm just nitpicking too much at what he's done or not done. What do you think?
Well, one of the things that we discussed with Matt was the fact that Ricky wants to be the man. He wants to be the guy that pulls all the strings and has all the attention on him as far as running LA Galaxy is concerned. So he tries to do a lot. He tries to do too much at some point. And yes, he is gifted. He is talented. He is a smart guy. But sometimes he gets a little too full of himself, I feel. Um, I feel like he gets the Geo Award as well. Just for the simple fact they gave such a stupid goal. Try to get cheeky with a little back heel, man. Just kick the ball out. Nobody's gonna blame you for that. Nobody's gonna say, you know what, you're dumb for not running the ball up the field, taking it back up. So yeah, definitely, game is off. Um, I just saw in the chat that we have a super chat, and we're gonna address that after we're done with the awards because it's regarding Sabaleta. So yeah,
Well, let's actually read the question. Any thoughts on Zabaleta starting next week, which will be
uh,
against Kansas City? So we'll address it when we
yeah,
talk about Kansas City. Yeah,
yeah,
and thank you for the super
definitely,
chat, Adam. $2 super chat. Thank you.
yeah. And finishing up my thoughts on Ricky, I told Matt, I was like, in the past we have seen Ricky try to carry the ball so much, that if he had an option of passing the ball out to the wing to somebody who's wide open, just waving at him, hey, wide open, and he sees like three guys in front of him, holding like fucking forks and knives and foaming at the mouth, he'll run into those three guys instead of passing the ball away. But I feel like he's getting better at it. But every now and then he tries a little bit too much. And the fact that he scores goals like the one he did against Nashville, that only feeds into that. so so it's good that he scores a goal against Nashville, but at the same time, it kind of validates what he does. And so, man, Ricky, who's gonna tell him otherwise? Is Banny gonna tell him?
No, of
Like,
course not. He wants to be the best player on this team, and he has the
yeah,
skill set for it. And so this it goes back to what we've been saying about him, that he's not an actual cam. He's not an actual cam, and they're trying to play him in that position. And every time I see him get the ball, it's behind the half, and then he makes those runs. Granted, I feel that now he feels he has to do hero ball. Well, not that he has to do hero ball, but yeah, maybe he doesn't trust his new DPs, or maybe he feels since before he had to be the main guy that he still has to carry that into this season. He has help now. So Ricky, just trust your guys.
yeah,
Painsel's a baller. You're gonna see Peck. He is a baller. Trust him. They're gonna give you the ball back when you're in better position to create better offensively.
yeah, definitely. So, moving on with Eddie, we're going to the You Got Heartman Award.
With the you got heart, man.
Yes, and I think you might all agree on this one.
Yep, I
Marquis
think so too.
Delgado.
Yeah,
Marquis Delgado and continues to have solid games after solid games. Eddie says Delgado had a solid game. He found those through balls you expect Ricky to make.
what I mentioned
I
earlier.
mean, oof, my goodness. What would this? We've been talking so much about Painter's performance with this team so far. How would Galaxy be right now if they didn't have Marky Delgado making the passes and and having that impact on the pitch that he man through 4 games? Where would this
100%.
team be?
100%. I think Eddie and I had this conversation, and I kind of had it with Masa from Straight from the Stands. Eddie brought up to my attention that what if you're able to trade Delgado, you sell high, and bring him another piece before the season started or when the first game started? I was like, all right, maybe that's a valid option. As these other 3 games progressed and passed on, up to we're 4 games now. This man is an important piece to that center mid trio in order for us to succeed. We do not trade or sell high on this man at all. I was wrong for even considering that option, because if we don't have Marky Delgado right now, the LA Galaxy would not be undefeated. Yeah, their ties of undefeated, but this man has given us the option on the offensive side to be productive. Something that we are, like Eddie said, missing from Ricky right now.
Ricky in the chat says, "Now trade Ricky instead." LOL. Just kidding. Just kidding. Oh my goodness. So is he does
Yeah.
he get your Heartman Award?
Yes, of
Okay.
course he
Yeah.
gets my Heartman Award. I
Yeah. Same here.
I would have given him my outstanding player of the match, but there's another player who has been nothing short of spectacular the whole season.
Well, let's go on to the next one then.
Well,
Next standing.
I actually want to give my honorable mention, because fuck you, Eddie. Dejan
Ooh.
Joveljic is my
Wait.
honorable mention.
You're giving it a Heartman to Dayan?
No, my honorable mention is
Wait,
Dejan. Dejan gets my honorable mention.
wait, we have honorable mention now? I thought it was just Gio, Hartman, and next standing.
Well, the Hartman is you got Hartman,
Yeah.
but the honorable mention, the one that could have got the Hartman, Dejan.
Mhm.
I don't see how you guys are giving Dejan so much shit in this game, dude. I just mentioned the stats. He's second in the Golden Boot. He has scored every single game. Berkey is
Well,
just a beast.
I'll give you an analogy in a little bit, but let's move on to the next one.
Yes,
Next standing. Next standing. Let's hear it. Brian, give me a nice little intro for the next standing award.
The next standing award. No.
And now,
And now, for the most prestige in all of MLS, the biggest award, the next ending player of the match.
What?
What?
Oh, and Eddie, we're gonna start with him. He says Joseph Painso. He was dangerous all game. Too bad his efforts were wasted by Dion and won by Fagundes.
There you go. See, talking shit already. You leave Dayon
Brian, what
alone.
do you say?
Yeah, 100% agree with Eddie. Not with the second part of the statement, but with the first part. Paintsil is amazing. He is the winger that Greg Vanny has been wishing to Santa for these last 3 to 4 seasons. What we have with Pavone was special. What we have with Paintsil is spectacular. It's nothing but spectacular.
Well, both of you guys give your award to Painter, and I would love to make it a hat trick, but I'm wearing this shirt for a reason. The man saved the game.
Ah,
So I gotta give it to the captain, Maya Yoshida
Capitan.
and Capitan. You know, he showed up at the very end when things seemed their darkest. And he's such a commanding presence in the back. Whenever you mention him, obviously as a defender, you don't ever want to have your name mentioned. But to have your name mentioned because you scored a game-winning goal or did a fantastic goal like this one, then yeah, this is a good thing. So Maya Yoshida, sir, next standing award.
And
Um, by the way, I almost forgot to add something. Going back to the PJ award, because
Eddie added on
Eddie
to
came
that.
back for second.
Oh
he
my
says
God.
he wants to add to the BJ award regarding. He says if I was starting instead of Dayon, I'd probably have more goals than him, especially since I can convert penalty kicks. Right?
Number 2 in the Golden Boot race. 4
All right, and
goals, 1 assist.
and it's good that we bring it up again because this is where I'm gonna say something okay
Go
about
ahead.
Dayon. Now
Go
you
ahead.
guys know I love Dayon Jovovich. I think he had a fantastic 2022. I felt like um when he said he was the future, I was like, okay, pump the brakes, man. But you'll get there, you'll get your shot. And when he did get a shot, nada. Now fast forward a year later, and 4 goals through 4 matches on paper, that looks fantastic. On the surface, that looks fantastic. From the point of view of an MLS fan from another team, that looks incredible. Like, wow, damn, where did he come from, right? Um, but those of us in the know, those of us who really pay close attention, we know that there's a lot of mistakes there. We know, yeah, he's getting those goals, but this is how I'm gonna describe it to you. You have these amazing players, Ricky Puig, Joseph Paintsil, now you have Diego Fagundes and Mark Delgado, who are all serving passes into the box. Even Julian Alves is getting involved now. It is a feast. And you get a more capable forward in front of that, this guy would be feasting day in and day out. Instead, what we're seeing is Dayon is making the tap ins and scoring the shots that somebody at his level is scoring. So I feel like instead of feasting on the main course, he's just having dessert.
Hey, it's the beginning of the season.
I'm sorry,
You
but
mentioned it
those
earlier.
goals, man. But some of these that he's not scoring, you really scratch your head. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
We
granted,
said it
that's
last week. Chicha would have buried some of those goals.
would he?
Yes, yes,
We seen
yes,
him
he would
not
have.
bury those sitters with the
But
LA
but
Galaxy.
but then Chicha and Dayon are two different types of players, right?
Well, let me give you this I'll leave it with this. Everybody is really trying to get into Dayon's case because he's missing the he's getting fed a lot more opportunities, he's missing them more. In 4 games, he has 4 goals, 1 assist. Do you guys remember last season when he was starting with us? How many goals did he get in his first 4 games?
One.
Even worse. Now we started off with a Dejan Jovic who is locked in and scoring goals, getting into positions where he could just tap them in. last season that wasn't the case, and you guys are gonna give this man flack for that? He's in the top 4 of he's number 2 in the Golden Boot race. Why are you
Mm.
guys not buying into what he's selling?
I
This
feel
man is
like he's
locked
there
in.
because of the quality of the passes that he's been getting and the quality of the players that surround him. So you can score those goals in spite of where your head is at the moment. Now here's the positive on it though, because let's give you a silver lining, right? So you're probably saying like, "Damn it, Edgar, you give up on Dayon." I know Eddie's, you see where Eddie's coming
He gave up
from.
already. He gave up.
Now, uh, the way I see it, what's really bugging Dayon is, I think, is his confidence. I keep bringing that up. You don't know how important it is for your confidence as a forward to affect the way you play. Because just like in baseball, a batter that suddenly goes into a cold streak and they start trying everything under the sun to try to fix their swing or just the way that they approach an at bat, it's the same way as a forward in soccer. You start to wonder, like, what if I do this? What if I do that? And then it starts bugging you because you start to remember what kind of mistakes you're making. That's why that comment that he made in the presser, where next week is another opportunity to start anew, right? Or something to that effect. Then you know that somebody had to mention that to him, or that somebody got in his face and said, "Hey, look, shake it off. You got to move on. There's other opportunities out there." But when those opportunities come, you gotta take them. You gotta make them. And at this point, he's missing a lot more than making them. So the 4 goals, that's volume, man. That's because he's been given so much an opportunity to score, and those are the ones he was able to put through. But anybody else, you give me any other forward that's at the top of the game, like a Buanga, for example. Oh my goodness, they would have like 7 or 8 goals right now,
Even
right?
Campana from Miami. Yeah.
Yes.
Even, I don't know
Yeah,
why
you
we.
agree with me then? Yes, you
I
do.
am gonna be on the positive end of this conversation with Dejan, and we'll see. Nah, because
What Eddie said
I
is
don't want
true.
to. Yeah, he's if he keeps on scoring like this, dude, 1 goal a match. That's 30+ goals.
Eddie said something on the group chat that made me laugh. He says he's the guy in a group project that doesn't do anything and just writes his name on the project.
Just put my name on it.
That's kind of harsh. I see it more as like he's the guy who prints up the group project and says that he's the one who like put it together.
Fuck yeah. Leave Dejan alone. All right. Well, our next opponent is Kansas City. Sporting
Sporting
Kansas
Kansas
City.
City.
A very tough opponent.
Oh, they're
They
always tough, man.
they somehow made it to the playoffs last season. They were a tough play-in match. They were a tough out. You have an Alan Pulido who is healthy now, who could destroy many defenses in MLS. Of course, you have Johnny Russell on the wing, who has been an MLS vet for quite some time now, and you know what he could do. We wanted him here in the LA Galaxy. Well, I did particularly, and it's going to be a tough matchup. Um, Edgar, do we have anything lined up for the midweek show with
Yeah,
Sporting
actually, I
Kansas?
reached out to our good friend Kevin Kevincho, if you guys follow him, and
Yeah,
he said that barring any unforeseen circumstances, which the card is subject to change, but barring any unforeseen situations, Kevincho will be joining us for a midweek preview of that. And he's a really fun guy. We had a
yeah,
great time chatting with him earlier. So yeah, looking forward to that. I'll let you guys know once I got that nailed down, so that way you guys have something really fun to look forward to. We had a lot of fun with Matt. I want to thank him again, by the way. Matt, he had no idea about the whole hockey thing. I just told him, put on your hockey, your Blues hockey jersey, and I got a surprise for you. And the whole Matt Big Bird Baker thing was surprising. If you haven't seen it, just go back and watch that because it was comedy.
yeah. It was a good time.
It
Good
was
time
it
talking
was a
about the
lot
LA
of fun. We
Kings.
had a great time with him. But yeah, and we have another great guest lined up for you guys. Kevin Cho.
Yeah, and hopefully we can
Hacemos.
get to you guys out soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that will do it for us here at News Across the Galaxy. Thank you for everybody that tuned in and watched our little rant.
Nag
Shout out
After
to
Dark.
Nag After Dark. Shout out to the super chats, and shout out to everybody that was at the game and actually was able to chant and be loud because the stadium was actually pretty loud, and I actually like to see that. And you know what happens when the stadium is loud? It's because people show up because the LA Galaxy is producing, and you're having a great time watching this team be successful. Imagine that. Imagine winning, or at least not losing at home in front of your home fans. Oh fuck! I forgot
Oh
about Sabah.
God.
We were trying to forget about that. I didn't even want to mention
Damn
that.
it.
To be honest, we'll talk about it in the midweek show because
No, let's bring it up. Let's bring it up now.
uh,
Initial thoughts on Sabaleta. I mean Sabaleta. Sorry, man, they got into my head.
I mean, if he has La Selecta jersey under the Galaxy one, I think he'll be all right because that man with the Selecta is a fucking beast. With the LA Galaxy,
Man, if we get that performance where he scored that hat trick again, then yeah, hell yeah, bring him on.
yeah,
But if he's gonna show up with the what is it, the zucchini casserole?
stay home.
Oh man, no jodabo.
Nah, but you know what? We gotta support this man because he's wearing the blue, white, and gold, and we want to actually get some points away. And this is
Yeah.
a perfect match for the next man up. And you know, Eric Zabaleta, this is your chance, Papa. Don't fuck it up. Nah.
Damn.
Just kidding, bro. All right. Well, that does it from us. You can find me as Bryant Nags on Instagram and X/Twitter. Edgar.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Edgar Nags. Chuyaso, you say something?
You guys can find me as Chavez JA, Chavez Han on my social. Pretty easy, pretty simple.
And before we leave, head out to nactv.com. Edgar did a beautiful kit ranking where he talks shit about everybody's kit, including our own LA Galaxy kit.
Damn. Actually, I got some updates on that before we go.
Yeah, of
The LA
course.
Galaxy jersey did defeat, which I ranked number 19, by the way. Galaxy jerseys ranked number 19, took out the DC United kit, which I think I ranked like 12 or 13. I can't remember right now. So the LA Galaxy jersey moves on. Please, even if you're not a fan of the teams that are in the poll, these are shirts, right? They either look pretty or they don't. Go in there and vote for the ones that you guys think is gonna be the best kit of 2024. LAFC already defeated Red Bull New York. They're gonna be going up against the one that I ranked number one, which is Minnesota Starry Night kit. So you can have LAFC and the 3262 going up against Minnesota and their Loons. So if you guys want to vote for the Loons, go ahead. If you guys want to vote for the LAFC kid, go ahead. If that's what you want.
Yeah, it's a fun
Edgar,
voting thing.
yeah, look up my account on Twitter. Like I said, Edgar Nags, and look for all the different polls. This weekend I was at a wedding, so I didn't get a chance to post Saturday or Sunday, but I'm gonna be back tomorrow. In fact, actually, there's one right now. Sorry. We
No.
Vancouver and Charlotte ended up tied after 72 votes. So you guys want to go in there and decide that it's only for up for 24 hours to decide who moves on. So yes, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are those that have voted. Thank you so much. And well, let's see how far Galaxy Jersey can go. Because my God, St. Louis has over 600 voters. Come on, damn.
Yeah, so let's get on track on that. And once again, nagtv.com. Go ahead and read the articles. It's beautifully written, of course. Edgar's our guy that actually has proper English, unlike us idiots who just talk our shit for no reason.
Oh my God. Do you see what Eddie just posted? He just wants
No.
to show it.
What did he
Dude, can you make
post?
that happen, dude?
What did he post?
Oh my
Hey.
God. Hey, fool. Let me copy your homework, eh?
No. Why would you do that, man? All right.
In case we don't get a chance to show it, it's a picture of Dayon dressed up like a homie, showing up to school in his little, his white T-shirt, his Dickies, and
Some
and
Cortezes.
his Cortezes, and he's like, "Hey, fool, let me copy your homework."
All right, so we're gonna I don't know if you guys have seen that meme with the little kid from like some little hood ass kid talking about, "Hey fool, you want to go bodies?" Is that meme, but with Dayon's face. So stick around real quick before we take off because it looks pretty funny. There you go. Hey fool, let me copy your homework, Doug. Or we go bodies, dog.
Damn, the Dayon hate.
I know, dude. I will not accept
I,
that
for
Dayan
me, it's
standard.
criticism, but you guys, damn.
Nah, it's fucked up, bro. Lee Dayoung. It's Jovelich, right? That's how you pronounce his name?
Jovelich,
Jovelich.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dayon
because he, he
Jovelich.
he corrected everybody in his post game interview. Anyway, that does it for me. From News Across the Galaxy. I'm Brian. This is Edgar. Stupid Eddie is sending us memes from Mexico. Why don't you go to sleep, bro? And of course, Chewy on the ones and twos. As always, keep on nagging.
Keep on nagging.
You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.